Good morning, aspirants. It's 26th of September today, and I welcome you all in today's edition of What to Read in the Hindu newspaper. While going through the articles, we will not only see its relevance with regard to prelims and mains, but we'll also try and interlink it with other GS papers as well. I am 𝗗𝗶𝗹𝘆 𝗡𝗲𝗄, Senior Mentor at Prepp IAS. So without wasting much time, let's get started. The very first article that is worth our today's attention is about Leh remains tense a day after death of 4 persons. Now, if this article is to be seen from the lens of our relevance with regard to GS papers, सबसे पहले this will fall under GS paper 2, wherein polity and governance के issues can be linked. For GS paper 1 as well, wherein society can be linked. This is even relevant for GS paper 3 under the theme internal security, क्योंकि it shares border with China. Now, one by one, we'll try mapping it, how this is relevant with each of the papers. The very first one under GS paper 2, if I say, हमको 6th schedule of constitution के बारे में जानना पड़ेगा, wherein autonomy of tribal areas, that is northeastern state in particular, has been given. Same sort of demand, लेह के जो हमने UT बनाई है, उनके जो citizens हैं, they are also asking to give them as well. Then we need to know about what is Ladakh apex body, Kargil Democratic Alliance, Hill Development Council. इन तीनों के बारे में क्या है ये, इनकी डिमांड क्या है. इसी आर्टिकल को जब हम मेंस के एंगल से देखने की कोशिश करेंगे, why the demand of statehood and if not 6th schedule की inclusion के लिए this ये the people are asking from Leh. What is the issue of tribal autonomy that they are asking for? इसमें role of civil society in the form of Sonam Wangchuk, who's leading the protest there and even has done hunger strike in past. How he is influencing the people there. उसके बाद में the next angle that we can draw from this particular article is security versus autonomy balance in strategic regions. Now Ladakh is not similar to other Indian states. It's a bordering region. So what sort of security and autonomy central government can afford to give them? Afterwards, there has been several issues with regard to it. Other issues जो हम इसको link कर सकते हैं. There is a perception gap between center, how they see Ladakh as a region, and the local regional people who are residing there, how they see what is being governed to them. इस तरीके से. Violence versus alienation in border areas that has been seen through the years. इसमें even foreign hand की involvement का भी allegation दिया गया है by several security agencies. इसका way forward क्या हो सकता है? There could only and only be dialogue-based resolution. उसके बाद में constitutional safeguards like northeastern states जैसे उनको दिया गया, similar sort of mechanism can be developed over there. At the same time, we need to give them autonomy and representation, but not at the cost of our security. In this manner, this particular article is to be holistically seen. Now, moving on, अगला important article जो आज के पेपर में, आज के edition of paper में बहुत important है, is talk about Delhi government IIT Kanpur Science MOU for artificial rain trials. Now, every year as October आता है, और उसके बाद में pollution की news across the NCR region is in a lot of headlines हमेशा से. So this article, if we see it, is relevant with regard to GS paper 3, जिसमें environment, science and tech and pollution control measures as a theme from our paper 3 can be quoted. Prelims के angle से हमको ये जानने की जरूरत है cloud seeding technology होती क्या है and कौन से chemical का use होता है while doing this. At the same time, what is artificial rains? कितना cost इसका पड़ता है? Afterwards, mains के regarding इसी article को हम pollution की mitigation strategies के हिसाब से भी डाल सकते हैं. At the same time, is it a temporary solution or a permanent solution? और हमको कोई और structural change लाने की जरूरत है to tackle pollution in NCR region altogether. कोई भी step लेने के लिए in region like NCR, since it is a union territory, federal cooperation की जरूरत पड़ेगी. At the same time, multiple permissions from central government as well. सो जब क्लाउड सीडिंग टेक्नोलॉजी की बात हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं समझने की, दिल्ली रीजन में अगर लाया जा रहा है तो कौन कौन से मल्टीपल परमिशन, सेंटर स्टेट कोऑर्डिनेशन का एंगल, टेक्नोलॉजी लेड गवर्नेंस कैन आल्सो बी कोटेड इन दिस पर्टिकुलर रिगार्ड. आफ्टरवर्ड्स इसके बहुत सारे अपने इश्यूज भी हैं इन द फॉर्म ऑफ इट इज क्वाइट एक्सपेंसिव इन नेचर. आफ्टरवर्ड्स जैसे ही सेटल हुआ ये रेन, pollution again quickly comes back. In this manner, this particular article is to be seen. Afterwards, we need to do real structural change. That is source based emission पे काम करने की जरूरत है, ना कि short term measures like cloud seeding. But at the same time, for temporary relief, when the PM level reaches highest, this sort of technology can be adopted. And at the same time, there is a need for long-term action plan wherein several sections of the society, center, state, NGO, people awareness, everything has to be collaborated in a manner कि एक streamlined action लिया जा सके against pollution. In this manner, this particular article is to be seen. एक और एंगल हम इसमें सोच सकते हैं stubble burning का from the neighboring states that comes in that region. So stubble burning की management को भी हमको उसके enforcement के लिए भी we have to have a concrete plan in this regard. In this manner, this particular article is to be holistically seen. Now, the next important article that is there in the paper and is on editorials page that majorly compares about the export potential of Northeast state and the coastal state that we have. The author is trying to say कि जो coastal states हैं, they are actually having great contribution in exports, while other states in the form of who shares international border or hilly region, इनका hardly 0.13% ही है हमारे export basket में. So this is relevant with regard to GS paper 3 economy, GS paper 2 governance, wherein federalism can be quoted, and IR as well, wherein we are trying to push our Act East policy. Northeast की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो despite it shares 5,400 kilometers international border, only 0.13% ही ये contribute करता है हमारे export basket में. Afterwards, this region has immense potential. How? In the form of Assam, wherein a tea is of great quality, but still we are not able to tap the international export potential for that. Free movement regime जो है इंडिया म्यांमार का 2024 में we scrapped it. So what are the new avenues that we can look forward so that newer export destination from the products of northeastern hilly region can be done? इसी आर्टिकल को जब हम मेंस के एंगल से देखेंगे तो यहाँ पर जैसे कि ट्रेड सेंट्रलाइजेशन पॉलिसी ऑफ गुजरात, महाराष्ट्र एंड कर्नाटक फ्लरिश कर रहा है, and they are the major exporting states of India. Similar sort of structural reforms when we do in our northeast region and eastern India, that will highly contribute to our export potential as well. जिसमें borders trade जो है we can start with Southeast Asian countries as well. But इसमें issue क्या है? Missing infrastructure, क्योंकि कोई trade corridor वहाँ पर अभी तक develop नहीं हुआ है. Security is major concern that we see in the northeast. At the same time, security versus development first, ये conflict पे आते हैं very often. China जो है, this is trying to fill that vacuum in Myanmar, and we have scrapped that policy. So that also needs to be tackled well. इसके way forwards क्या हो सकते हैं? हमको logistics improve करना पड़ेगा. We have to improve on the corridor, जैसे इंडिया म्यांमार थाईलैंड कॉरिडोर हमने प्रपोज किया है, but it is still in pipeline और अभी तक वो on ground operational नहीं हुआ है. We need to speed fast our pace with regard to infrastructure projects that we are doing. At the same time, हमको policy integration of northeast लेना पड़ेगा, जिसमें हम board of trade and export strategy को हम यहाँ से भी contribute कर पाए. At the same time, geographically, we have to diversify our export potential so that वो resilience आ पाए all across एक even development हो पाए इंडिया के regions में. There shall never be a pocket which is quite rich in Indian subcontinent, but at the same time, other region who is quite rich with regard to resources, but उनको उतना chance ही नहीं मिला as compared to other states which are flourishing in nature as of now. The next important article that is there in the paper and that catches our attention talks about cooling rights in a sweltering south. Now, इसको जब हम मैप करते हैं, ये important है हमारे GS पेपर 3 से, जिसमें environment, climate change के angles को explore किया जा सकता है. ये even GS 2 के पेपर के लिए भी हमारे लिए बहुत important है, जिसमें social justice under the theme health can be quoted. Now, for prelims perspective, हमको क्या-क्या जानने की जब आर्टिकल हम पढ़ेंगे, जो पॉइंटर्स हमको सीधा क्लिक करना चाहिए. Firstly, there shall be, जब भी हम कोई भी अगर हम प्रपोज करें अपना आर्ग्यूमेंट, we shall have a fair data, कि आप अपने मन से नहीं कह रहे. This data talks about, जैसे AC ownership in India, अभी तक में ये जो डेटा जहां से भी आया है, this article talks about कि 5% हाउसहोल्ड में है, जिसमें से अर्बन जो है 13% कंप्राइज करता है एंड रूरल एरियाज में एसी की पेनिट्रेशन इज हार्डली 1%. सो इसके बाद में एनर्जी सेविंग प्रपोजल्स की बात की गई है, जिसमें देयर वाज अ जजमेंट आल्सो दैट सेज कि 24 डिग्री सेल्सियस ही रेंज होना चाहिए व्हेन वी ऑपरेट एसी इन समर. दैट इज द रेंज शुड बी 20 से 28 मैक्स. इस तरीके से WHO की रिकमेंडेशन क्या कहती है कि देयर हैज बीन 4,89,000 ग्लोबल हीट रिलेटेड डेथ दैट हैज हैपेंड 2000 से 2019 तक में, जिसमें इंडिया अकेले में 20,000 से ऊपर मौतें हुई है. सो दीज आर द पॉइंटर्स दैट वी हैव टू कीप इन माइंड व्हाइल गोइंग थ्रू प्रीलिम्स का एंगल फ्रॉम दिस आर्टिकल. मेंस के एंगल से यही आर्टिकल को हम देख सकते हैं, कूलिंग वर्सेस क्लाइमेट जस्टिस प्लस पब्लिक हेल्थ इश्यूज, ये तीनों का कोलैबोरेशन. At the same time, there is AC is supposed to be a luxury good. So that means there is a lot of disparity as well, wherein rich versus poor and global south versus north can be quoted. इसको हम labor productivity से भी link कर सकते हैं, जिसमें कि health, infrastructure, neonatal care and vaccine developments, these all sector require ACs. An ambient temperature that is very much needed. Issues इसमें क्या है majorly? AC is a luxury good, but this is inequitable in nature. Only rich or a few segment of society can afford to enjoy this cooling as a part of their regular day life. Then at the same time, this can even be seen as a symbolic energy policy versus real adaptation need. इसका way forward क्या हो सकता है? Could be universal access with regard to public cooling, heat action plans हमको develop करना पड़ेगा. International finances for global south need to be strengthened. We have to even integrate cooling into developmental rights as well. In this manner, this particular article is to be holistically seen, bit by bit, paper by paper, prelims and mains angles. Everything can be explored. Moving on, the next important article that is there in the paper, and that talks about why India's urban definition is failing its growing town. Now, इसको जब हम मैप करेंगे, this will fall under GS paper 1 under the theme urbanization and society, also for GS paper 2 governance as well. Prelims के एंगल से हमको जो एंगल्स हमको याद रखने का है while going through this particular article is, what is the census definition of urban areas as per 2011? So the population where more than 5,000 population resides, 75% of the male who work in non-agricultural sector, and जिस एक प्लेस की डेंसिटी more than 400 persons per kilometer होती है, उसको हम कहते हैं अर्बन डेफिनेशन, अर्बन टाउन. उसके बाद में सेंसस टाउन. इसमें और अर्बन टाउन में क्या डिफरेंस होता है? मेंस के एंगल से व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन क्लासिफिकेशन व्हेन वी से पेरी अर्बन एंड सेमी अर्बन सेटलमेंट? व्हाट आर द इम्पैक्ट्स ऑफ गवर्नेंस, प्लानिंग एंड सर्विस डिलीवरी when we say we designate an area as urban center? इस तरीके से वेस्ट बंगाल में बहुत सारे डेंस सेटलमेंट हैं जिनको एक्सक्लूड कर दिया गया है. एज अ केस स्टडी दे हैव ट्राइड टू पुट इन दिस पर्टिकुलर आर्टिकल दैट कैन इवन बी रेड. आफ्टरवर्ड्स रूरल गवर्नेंस जो है हमारी, इट इज लिमिटेड ऑटोनॉमी एंड नो अर्बन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हैज बीन देयर एज ऑफ नाउ. सो इसके बाद में वे फॉरवर्ड क्या हो सकता है? वी नीड टू अपडेट द डेफिनेशन ऑफ अर्बन टाउन टू रिफ्लेक्ट the real changes in India's डेमोग्राफिक एंड डेवलपमेंटल एजेंडाज। क्यों? क्योंकि हमको इससे एक डेटा और पता चलेगा कि हाउ मच exactly India has been transformed into urban settlement. It can never be again said it to be a more of ruler in nature, but we need to have concrete data with regard to it, right? And the next census is already lined up there in 2017. So we need to rethink that classification for better planning and urban governance as well. इस तरीके से इस एक आर्टिकल को देखा जाएगा। आफ्टरवर्ड्स जो अगला इंपॉर्टेंट आर्टिकल जो है आज के पेपर में, and that needs our attention, is about government revokes FCRA license of Bangchu's organization. So this particular article is relevant with regard to GS paper 2 quality and governance, जिसमें we need to know about what is FCRA Act 2010 that requires foreign contribution for NGOs. उनकी registration आपको करानी पड़ेगी, Ministry of Home Affairs के अंदर में आता है। क्यों? सेवरल एनजीओस के एफसीआरए लाइसेंस अभी कैंसिल हुए थे इन द रीसेंट पास्ट। उसके बाद में सीबीआई का डिफरेंट जो प्रोब उन्होंने किया अगेंस्ट, जैसे HIAL हिमालयन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ अल्टरनेटिव ऑफ लद्दाख, इनके भी जो सेवरल एलिगेशंस ऑफ गेटिंग फॉरेन डोनेशंस एंड दीज सॉर्ट ऑफ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जो अराइज करने की कोशिश की गई है विद द लोकल्स हैज बीन इनटू द लेंस। Now, this is also relevant with regard to society, wherein activism in fragile regions such as border state, that to international border state, is cause of concern for us. There has been tensions between grassroots movement versus state perception of provocation. For people, ये movement, वहाँ के जो locals हैं, वो उसको कैसे देखते हैं कि हमारे जो rights हैं, उनको restore किया जाए. But central government, what they see, how they see this movement as provocative in nature, funded by international enemy countries that are trying to destabilize India. So how the perception game, when they come on same page, can be resolved by dialogues and debates. This can even be interlinked with GS paper 3 as well, wherein internal security as a theme can be discussed, जिसमें लद्दाख protest and इसके statehood को, जिसमें 6th schedule में integrate करने की demand हो रही है, this can also be linked with this. Afterwards, सेंसिटिव बॉर्डरलैंड गवर्नेंस में किस तरीके से ये चाइना फैक्टर का इन्वॉल्वमेंट इंडिया के पर्सपेक्टिव से हमेशा से देखा गया है। इसमें जो एक इशू क्या आता है, कंसर्न क्या आता है कि नाउअडेज एनजीओज आर आल्सो कमिंग इनटू इट्स रोल प्ले, जिसमें इसकी लेजिबिलिटी एंड कंप्लायंस कैन बी क्वेश्चन एट टाइम्स। एट द सेम टाइम इसका वे फॉरवर्ड क्या है? एनजीओ की फंडिंग के लिए डिजिटल रिपोर्टिंग, रियल टाइम पोर्टल्स, इन सब का इंटीग्रेट करवाना। एट द सेम टाइम वी नीड टू एंगेज विद दोज एक्टिविस्ट इन डायलॉग इंस्टेड ऑफ कंप्लीटली इनका ब्लैंकेट बैन कर देना, because banning something will even provocate people residing there. This also needs to be taken into consideration. The next and the last important article for the day from my end is about bring back tribals who fled Maoist conflict, says NCST. This is relevant with regard to GS paper 1 society, जिसमें schedule caste जो tribal population है, they have been displaced after 2005 due to Maoist conflict in certain regions. So now NCST as an organization, they are asking to bring back them, restore them, and उनको आपको resettle करवाना पड़ेगा. So what is the cause? After flooding one region, the same society who has been residing there for years, they have lost their identity, their livelihood, access to land and community rights that they used to enjoy earlier. इसको हम GS2 के एंगल से भी देख सकते हैं, जिसमें गवर्नेंस एंड सोशल जस्टिस as a theme can be explored. NCST as a recommending policy for displaced ST families उन्होंने propose किया है. They have even given reference to Bruce settlement plan of 2018, जिसको as a precedent उन्होंने कहा है कि इसी तरीके से आप बाकी regions में भी लेकर आइए. They have asked government to give them 5 acres of land and provide Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana facilities for them, even give them employment opportunities, health and infrastructure facilities that state is responsible for giving them. At the same time, they even need to coordinate with other neighboring states where they have fled. For instance, interstate coordination in Telangana, Andhra, Odisha, and Maharashtra, because these are the region wherein Maoism still persists. इसको हम GS3 इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी के एंगल से भी कोट कर सकते हैं, wherein माओइस्ट इंसर्जेंसी होती क्या है एंड इसके आउटकम्स क्या होते हैं. ह्यूमन डिस्प्लेसमेंट, माइग्रेशन, the migrated population even face a lot of backlash from other region where they go and settle. Afterwards, security versus development debate has always been there whenever it comes to LWE areas or Maoism region. At the same time, this particular article also holds angle with regard to ethics and governance ka paper, wherein it is ethical obligation for state to protect most vulnerable sections. And इसमें justice for displaced community, how they can be restored. पहली उनकी restoration of dignity and their rights can be given by resettlement programs. So this has